What's up, guys? We're back. A little bit of a different video today because there's been a lot of crazy stuff happening where I'm from. So both my wife and I live in Western PA, and there have been some crazy, unprecedented thunderstorms, and we haven't had power at our place for 3 or 4 days now, and might not have it for another couple of days. So actually at my in-laws right now, hence the different setup. So today we're going to be doing similar stuff, but a little bit different. So we're going to be building a lineup together, all that good stuff, but also we're not going to be able to do a sim on FC25 because I don't have a PlayStation here. Believe it, I can't pop that in my back pocket, unfortunately. So we're going to be building a lineup together, predicting stuff, looking at what the lineup should be like for this match against Liverpool, this huge match against Liverpool. And we're going to talk about what do we think is going to happen this weekend, because a lot of huge stuff is going down in the Premier League right now at the end of the season. So super exciting to watch. Before we do that though, I want us to actually look at a few things where we're going to compare a player that I think is having a fantastic season and compare him to some other top players in the Premier League to see, are we being homers or are we actually seeing the truth? So let's go ahead and hop over and do that first. All right, guys, so if you see right here, I'm comparing our boy Enzo Fernandez. The reason I'm doing this is because he is a player that I think is stellar. And I mean, I think complete unsung hero for Chelsea, especially this second half of the season. The reason I'm saying that is because it's really obvious to say players like Moises Caicedo, players like Marc Cucurella, players like, probably wouldn't be able to think of another one right off the top of your head that's really sticking out to you. I think Enzo Fernandez should be sticking out to Chelsea fans, and not just Chelsea fans, but the Premier League in general. Because what has he always had? He's always had this crazy level of expectation on his shoulders, right? Because he had this insane price tag that we bought him for. I don't remember exactly what it was, around 120 million or something like that. And ever since then, right, he hasn't always lived up to it. We've been very critical, rightfully so sometimes. But what I am saying is, if we're critical, we should also give praise when deserved. So the reason I'm doing that is because I think he's been very noticeable the last couple months. And I'm not just saying about this game against Djurgården where he had 2 assists, probably could have had 2 more if he stayed in the whole game. I'm talking about the whole season. That's why we're going to look at this. So first off, I want to compare him to our boy Declan Rice, because Declan Rice, I would say, is considered probably, with Rodri out, one of the best kind of deep-lying playmaking midfielders in the league. Enzo's kind of hard to hit as well because he plays so many different roles, but I'm kind of labeling him that 8 position that can be ball winning, but also is very progressive and chance creating. So if you look here, they actually play in very similar areas of the field. So that's what I'm trying to say. They're comparable players. They're not the same player, but they're comparable. And in kind of a world where there's no positions anymore, it's kind of hard to find like for like, but these guys are similar in a lot of ways. And one, Declan Rice, I would say, is considered by many to be world-class. One, Enzo Fernandez, is considered to be a bust or overhyped. And I'm trying to say maybe we should relax on that. So first off, average SOFA score rating throughout the Premier League season. This is just looking at Premier League performances. It's not buffed by Conference League or anything like that. 7.32 for Enzo, 7.33 for Declan. So very similar numbers there. But the real things I want to hop down to are some of their statistics, which I think are really revealing. So first off, in attacking, we see here craziness. I know Declan Rice isn't considered anything like a type of a Kevin De Bruyne or a Cole Palmer, like a roaming 10 or anything like that. So we're not expecting him to have an amazing amount of goal contributions. But you have to look at the stats here. Enzo Fernandez is vastly better than Declan Rice attacking-wise. It's not even close. The only thing that Declan has is big chances missed, which honestly is understandable because Enzo's just getting much more opportunities. So goals, Enzo has 5 to Declan's 2. Expected goals, Enzo has 5.43 to Declan's 2.68. Not to mention, Enzo's meeting his expected goal contribution there as well as Declan. Goals per game, 0.2, nothing huge there. Shots off target, 0.6 to 0.5. So Declan has him slightly edged there by 0.1. Shots on target, same 0.6 to Declan's 0.3. So we see Enzo's better attacking wise. Next, defending. Declan's known for defending, right? And we have to look at kind of the setup. We understand that Declan is kind of that ball-winning midfielder a lot of times for Arsenal. I know they have Partey sometimes as well, but Chelsea has Caicedo, who's the best destroyer, ball-winning midfielder in the Premier League, I would say, if not more. So Enzo plays a different role in that way, so you have to take that into account. Declan has him beat on interceptions by 0.5. Enzo actually is more tackles per match by 0.4 more than Declan. If you see that right here, 1.9 compared to 1.5. Enzo's dribbled past 1.5 times a game to Declan's 0.7. And Declan has more clearances, and they're tied for block shots. But then down here we see this is split. Others per game. So Enzo has more successful dribbles. He has more ground duels won. I think almost 2 more ground duels won, which is really interesting to me. Declan has more aerial duels. Declan loses possession slightly less, and he fouls slightly less. But Enzo's also fouled more. So what I'm saying here is I'm not trying to come out here and say Enzo's markedly better than Declan Rice, but what I am trying to say is they're very comparable. Enzo Fernandez and Declan Rice are very comparable skill-wise and achievement-wise in the Premier League. Enzo is better offensively, Declan's better defensively, but they still share different statistics in those different roles. So they're very comparable as this average SOFA scores. And all I'm trying to say, guys, is Enzo deserves respect. Put respect on the boy's name. Moises, it's hard to get out of Moises' shadow because he's such a stellar player. Enzo, I think, is living up to the hype, especially the second half of the season. I think he deserves to hear about it. All right, guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to build a squad together. So what I want to do really essentially is I want to look at, I'm using Footbin today, which basically uses the FC25 cards. We're going to build one together. We're going to predict who might get some appearances. We're going to make a prediction of score, and then we're just going to call it. Because like I said, we can't sim it today. I'll sim it later, and I'll post about it on YouTube. I'll do a little text post about what happened to keep you guys updated. But that's what we're going to do. So first off, let's go ahead and hop over and see how we build a squad and go from there. So you see here, I'm using the fun cards, if you will, because, hey, we're close to the end of the season. Let's enjoy ourselves. And bottom line, these ratings have nothing to do with real life, but it does show something. It shows these players have been good, and they've been recognized for being good at different points of the season. So we're doing something right. Because what is this? 8 out of 11 of the players have, or 7 out of 11 players have a special card. I'm amazed Enzo doesn't have a special card, which is hilarious considering I just did that whole segment on Enzo. But I think speaks to the truth of my opinion that he doesn't get recognized as much as he should be right now. So starting at the top, I have Nico up top. He scored twice against Djurgårdens. I think he's hopefully getting back into his striking boots, which would be huge for us for these last handful of games, because guys, they need to win games. So that'd be huge. But I mean, who else is going to start there? And Nkunku apparently got a knock. Everybody's crying about that, I'm sure. Hopefully he's fine. But there's no one else that's going to play there. On the left and on the right, this is where you guys might have a little bit of disagreement with me, but that's okay. Because I'm playing the players that I think on merit on the recent games deserve to be there. Jadon Sancho, I think, has been hear me out, the best performing winger for us the last handful of games, the last couple of weeks, really. He's been producing, it feels like almost every time I watch a game. And I don't make quite every game occasionally because schedules, but almost every game that I get to watch, which is most, it seems like he's producing goal contributions. I think he deserves to be in this game. He's in form. He's trying to keep his place in the team. He's trying to make a permanent deal. He wants it. He's hungry. Keep him in. And where some of you might shout for Nani for that position because he played pretty well there last week, I want Sancho there. And then I want Pedro on the right. I think he was rested this week because he's going to play this weekend. So I think Pedro and Sancho will play. Nani could potentially start. I wouldn't be mad about it, but I will say I think there's something about the mentality of Sancho and Pedro now that I just prefer to Nani Madueke. I've talked about this in previous videos. I don't really get along great with players that are super melodramatic about stuff, and they seem very selfish. And sometimes that's okay to be selfish in sport, right? You need to have a little bit of that gene in you, especially if you're a goal scorer. But I don't know if these are my preferred wingers, but right now they're my preferred wingers. So that's what I'm going to have on the wings, keeping the chalk on their boots. And then the midfield, a little bit of difference here. So Cole Palmer's still in that 10. Will he score before the end of the season? That's my question I want to ask you guys. Will Cole Palmer score another goal before the end of the season? He hasn't scored in, I think it's 18 or 19 matches now across all competitions. He's produced a couple assists, but no scoring. That needs to get fixed. Will he score before the end of the season? I'm interested to see. I would hope so. I think we need him to, but I'm not so sure. And honestly, guys, I actually, hear me out, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that he has not been producing. And the reason I'm saying that is because it is proven to the rest of the team that they need to perform. They cannot just lean on Cole Palmer and Nico Jackson, because Nico was out for a long time. Cole's been out of the goals for a long time. So other guys have had to produce, like Pedro Neto, like Jadon Sancho, like Enzo Fernandez, all these different players, right? Mark Cucurella, who's apparently our striker, right? It's proven to them we can't lean on two guys because that will not last. So I think that's good. And then behind him, I have Lavia and Fernandez. So I think this is what we're going to see. I sometimes have mixed emotions about this, but the thing is, Maresca, and I understand it, likes having these three guys in the game if he can. Lavia didn't travel, I think, because they just wanted him to be ready to go. That's my suspicion. So I think Lavia will start with Fernandez, and I think Caicedo will start at right back. And I think there's a couple reasons for that, right? Reese is still getting minute managed hardcore. And also, I think that's because Malo Gusto is also probably going to get his minutes managed because he picked up a knock. I forget who it was against. The game before Everton, I think. I think Malo Gusto will get minutes. I actually had him starting above Caicedo before this, and that's something that you could easily see happen. If Malo started, I think you would see him at the right back. I think you would see Moises for Lavia there, and it could look something like this. But that's not what I think is going to happen. I think that Lavia will start in the midfield with Enzo, and I think Moises will start in the right back position. I don't know what kind of flip-flopping we're having here. Lavia is definitely not starting at center back. Anyway, and then on the left, we got Mark Cucurella, etched in stone at this point. And then we have Levi Colwill and Trev Chalobah. I think they played great in the last Prem game against Everton. I think Trev especially played amazing. And then in the goalkeeping position, I'm not playing this here because of his save against the own goal or something against Djurgårdens. The reason is, I was reading about this, Sanchez apparently still knocked up from that Everton game, so he's potentially not going to be ready for the game against Liverpool. So, of course, it would be Jorgensen who would step in for him there. But if Sanchez is healthy, I think he will definitely start. So starting from front to back, we have Nico starting at the striker position. We have Jadon Sancho on the left, Pedro Neto on the right. And then at the 10 position, the kind of free roaming place, we got Cole. And then in the midfield, Lavia, Fernandez, and right back, resident right back, Moises Caicedo. And then Trev Chalobah, Levi Colwill taking the center backs, Mark Cucurella on the left, and Philip Jorgensen holding down the fort at the goalkeeping position. So that's the lineup I have, guys. I think it's strong. It looks stronger because our FIFA FootBin cards, but hey, that just means that these guys have been informed at some time. And here's the thing. You have to think about the context of this season. This season is wrapping up in a crazy way. Most of the Prems in the past have been wrapped up so early, and I'm not just talking about the top, because of course I know Liverpool chalked up the championship, but what I'm talking about is Champions League spots, all these different things. There's so many denominators we don't know how they're going to pan out yet, and I'm excited about that. I'm thrilled about that, and you know why I'm also thrilled? Because Nottingham Forest dropped points and dropped all 3 points against Brentford at home yesterday. I don't know if you know how huge that is. We are now even with Nottingham Forest, which means if we beat out Nottingham Forest, we get Champions League. Because now behind us, Nottingham Forest is even and Aston Villa is 3 points behind, and nobody has games in hand that's chasing us. So that is unbelievably huge. All the cards have been put in front of us. The destiny is in our hands. Now the question is, what are the boys going to do with it? That comes down to what is my prediction. My prediction, it's going to sound positive because it is positive. It is optimistic. It might be overly optimistic. But here's the thing. Think about the denominators. Chelsea has all to fight for. Stuff has been put in their lap by Nottingham Forest losing, Aston Villa losing. And also, Liverpool are the champions. And they were the champions this past weekend. Which means what? This game, frankly, is only about pride for them. It's not about anything of consequence. Their championship has already been won for the Prem. It's the perfect time to play Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying I'm necessarily expecting us for sure to win at all. When's the last time we beat a top 4 team? I don't even know. It's been a long time. But I think it will be Sunday. And I think we're going to beat Liverpool 2-1. And I think we're going to get goals from Nico, who's in form. And I think we're going to get a goal from Enzo Fernandez, who is my boy, as you can see from this video. So that's what I think is going to happen this weekend, guys. My question for you is, what do you think is going to happen this weekend? Do you think, 1, Chelsea will beat Liverpool? And 2, do you think that Chelsea will end in the Champions League spots? This is a huge weekend. How will Chelsea respond? Up the Blues, guys, and I'll see you next week.